Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Just for the benefit of our viewers, very quickly, a brief synopsis of By Any Means.
Sure. By Any Means is a coming-of-age story in which we follow the lives of three cousins, Jimmy, Captain, and Kyle, 16 and 17 years old, respectively. They grew up in a community called Sydenham in Durban, where I'm from. It's a community not unlike many townships and communities in South Africa, your Mitchell's Plain, your Eldorado Park, Reicher Park type communities. And within this community, where they are surrounded by social evils such as gangsterism, alcoholism, drug abuse, they trying to, well, not only survive, they're trying to thrive in this environment, and to do so by any means, as the title says.
There's an interesting thing here, and I think the grandfather set them up on a collision course because it was his motto, by any means.
Yes, it was.
And for me, by any means it can either be a positive thing or a negative thing. The one thing that I found riveting for me is that how all three characters interpret by any means.
Yes, it is. The two characters that you follow most is Captain, who is a gang leader,
and Kyle is
and Kyle, who's a footballer. And Kyle's dream is to make a success of his life through football and doing whatever needs to be done in his footballing career. So we're talking about longer training hours and making those sacrifices to get ahead by any means in terms of football. And whereas Captain feels that in this environment of gangsterism and drug abuse, the only way he can get ahead in life is by doing what other gangsters are not willing to do, in order to become the top gangster in the community. So you 100% by any means there's different interpretations.
I think somebody's going to pick up this book and approach you for a TV deal or something, because it really does put Durban into a different mindset. We always only think of gangs on the Cape Flats. Here's my problem though. There's a juxtaposition here with the characters. You've got Captain, who's incredibly violent. He's got the scars, he's got stab wounds, bullet wounds, and yet he's the hero of the community. Whether it's operating on an undercurrent. For example, the fact that he's willing to build desks so that kids can have a desk to sit at. The fact that he supports his mother. The fact that he goes and beats up Uncle Ronnie, who beats up Jimmy and the family. It's an anti-hero almost. And then you've got Kyle, who is got all the graces of a great character, but only sticks to himself and is not willing. And the only time you really see him stand up and put himself out is when it comes to Jimmy, who seems to be this nexus point. He's almost the emotion of the two characters.
100%. And one thing we must be careful of is that Captain's altruism is actually also has some selfish undercurrent, because he's only doing it to make himself feel better for the evil that he does. He's not an evil person, but he just feels that in order to get ahead, he needs to do some evil things. And in order to compensate or to put his soul at ease, he's willing to give back to the community in like a Robin Hood type character. And in terms of Kyle just doesn't want to put himself out there.
He's living in the future almost, where he's removed from his community. He doesn't want to mingle with anybody.
100%. And it's not only because he's living in the future, but because of what happened to him in the past.
Okay.
We don't fully understand, I hint as to how he got himself back into Sydenham, but I don't mention, I don't give the exact reasons.
Well, the fact the father lost his job.
Correct, 100%.
Who are you? Which character are you?
Actually, all three of the characters are based on different aspects of myself at different times.
So you were in a gang or part of a gang?
No, I wasn't in a gang or any gang like that. But, I was around the periphery of gangsters. Some of the gangsters were my friends. Some of the people, I hung out with. I got caught in some sticky situations with a few of them on a few occasions. But no, I was never part of a gang. But, all three characters are based on myself at, different points of my development and of growing up, the naivety of Jimmy, the learning that if the more violent you are, the more respect you get, i.e. Captain, and also Kyle, the person that just stands back and watches and observes, the writer, the thinker, the wannabe philosopher, if I can use that term.
10 seconds. Why should you pick up this book? Because I do feel that Kyle, Captain, and Jimmy is one character.
Sure. The reason why people should pick up this book is I think it has everything, or has something to appeal to everybody or anybody, in that it got the action, it got the violence, it got the thriller aspects, it got the betrayal, the political side, but also there's a very strong Petrarchan type love tradition, love story going on through the story. There's two interesting love stories, Captain and Nazanin, and Kyle and Amir. So, I think it got everything, it can appeal to everybody.
Yeah, and I wonder who the Wesley is.
We all know a Wesley.
We all know a Wesley. I agree with you. We're going to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining me in studio. That was Durban born author Kurt Ellis talking to us about his offering By Any Means. I promise you it's an interesting read, especially when you focus on gangsterism in the Durban area. I always think of gangsters on the Cape Flats. Let's go to Lebo, who's got an interesting giveaway related to our book this morning, By Any Means.